Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Melanie, your She Shed Scrapper. So today I am back with another layout using the Say Cheese Tinseltown collection. This time I am actually scrapbooking Rebecca Ruiz. I absolutely loved her layout when I saw it on Instagram and knew I wanted to scraplift it. So I am going to use the blue star paper as my large border. I believe she probably used the yellow pattern paper that was in the collection as kind of another border. I didn't want to dig into that one, so instead I found just a yellow piece of cardstock that I will border the white paper in. I liked how she had multiple kind of borders around the main layout. And I also wanted to kind of gut this yellow paper as well, so you can see that I kind of did measure it and then end up gutting it because I wanted to be able to use it to map my photos. So for her layout, I believe she only had one photo. However, I am going to end up adding two, and they are both landscape. So I am going to end up just stacking them on top of each other. You see there, the top one is my son standing in front of the giant guitar outside of the roller coaster, and the bottom one is the ride photo. And this photo gives us a laugh every time we see it. So this was our first time riding it for both of us, and we got in line and we were fine, and then he saw the ride take off. So you can, it's almost like behind a fence. You watch the initial takeoff, and once he saw that takeoff, he was like, I'm not doing this, Mom. I don't want to do this. And I was like, honey, we're already here. We have to, get on this ride. And yeah, needless to say, he won't be doing it again. And we laugh because the ride photo, we say he is completely mean mugging it. It is, oh my goodness, one of the worst looking photos, but the funniest looking photo in the same, at the same time. So I don't know that I particularly enjoyed it either, so I probably won't be on it again, but we did it, and there's memories there now. So in her layout, I believe I'm copying the same papers as well here. She has 3 different pattern papers lined on the right side of the page. The first one being the star paper, and then I believe there is a diagonal striped paper that I am just going to cut just a small strip of to add to the left of the stars. And then the last of the pattern papers for this section is going to be this music paper here with the music notes. So I do cut that a little bit wider than the striped paper, but not a lot. So that is going to kind of fill in the right-hand side of the page. Again, I'm going to end up kind of lining my photos up one on top of the other, and then add just a white strip in between the 2 photos. And then I am actually going to mat them like the background page, so with yellow and then with blue after that. And now it's time to kind of layer some papers behind the photo, but going horizontal. So this was a fun paper, again, the rock and roll theme, that I will end up actually just using a couple of strips, just so I don't waste the entire paper. I can't even remember what's on the back side of this one, but this way I have additional scraps for other layouts. So this is just going to kind of go behind the photo here. I believe she used this same paper, and then I will be adding another layer after this one, and that one will be just plain red. I believe she might use another one of the pattern papers in this collection, but again, I just decided to use a red piece of cardstock. So you can see this one kind of goes quite a way, I don't know, it's quite large, I guess, behind the photo, but then I am just going to use a much thinner red strip to kind of break it up a little bit. So again, just going to end up adding or cutting it in half just to, I don't know, utilize, I guess, the paper. I'm sure I can figure out where to use that red cardstock on another layout. Do I need to save it? No, I didn't necessarily need to. But it does match this collection well. So I'm sure, like I said, I can figure out another layout to layer that behind. So once this is done, embellishing starts and takes a long time. That is kind of, I think, what drew me to her layout was just the use of the embellishments. So I did go ahead and kind of pull out the ephemera that is specific to the rock and roller coaster here. And I really did start following what she placed down for her embellishments. I do end up changing it up. But yeah, I had her layout kind of sitting right in front of me, and I really did kind of go with what she used. Again, I think she only had one photo, so that did kind of pose a different type of challenge, I guess, for me. She ended up adding I don't remember if it was a tag or a flag at the top right coming down, and it had an embellishment cluster on there as well. Obviously, with having my photos kind of up further, I didn't really have the space for that, and so I didn't end up adding that. But kind of had to figure out how to embellish the rest. So again, adding different bits and pieces to this bottom right cluster, kind of following along with what she had. I believe she used two of the ticket stickers from this collection. I, however, had used one for a different collection or a different layout, I should say. And so I ended up going into the ephemera of just a Say Cheese collection. I found another ticket that worked size-wise, and so I added that down to the bottom, added music note and stars, and then started with the top left cluster. So I really think embellishing took me longer than the actual layout, which is not normally the case, I don't think, for me. I think assembling the layout usually takes me a little bit longer. I feel like I am pretty quick in decision making when it comes to embellishing, and after I kind of followed along as close as I could to her layout, it took me a while. To figure out what else I wanted to add. So to the top right, I cut up one of the papers for like those film strips and added that up there. That star is actually like a journaling star, but it was the perfect kind of background for that title there, the rock and roll. This is where I wish I wouldn't have placed the foam stickers. So on the kind of the bottomish left hand side, that foam sticker, I could not get it up. And this is where I kind of wish I would have been able to maybe use different embellishments and go my own way. It just left such a large space between that rock and roll and then that rock and coaster at the bottom. And that's kind of where I struggled. So I did find a record and added that there and kind of just played along with the, I guess, I don't know if themes of the other clusters is the right word or not, but there are so many embellishments in this collection that are specific for the rock and roller coaster. I just did a layout for the Erica Rose Creates design team using the same collection, but doing a Toy Story themed layout. And I mentioned in there where I didn't think I needed this collection, and now I think I need more of it because it is so themed. I obviously use a bunch of embellishments on this layout, which is probably okay for this specific ride because this is the one and only time we have done it, and quite honestly might be the only time I do it. So using up the majority of the embellishments from this collection on this one specific layout were fine. Now, the Toy Story stickers and embellishments, those are a different story because I have a bunch of different Toy Story photos from kind of the ride photos and just photos around that section of the park. So those, I actually probably want more of those specifically. So adding little bits and pieces to that top cluster here, little stars, music notes. Then there was this longer sticker of music notes that I was able to tuck in under that rock and roll. And I didn't feel like it was really covering up too much of the photo. You still kind of got the idea of with that giant guitar there. So I didn't really feel like I needed to, I don't know, I felt like it was okay to embellish more of that. So just again, adding more of those cluster of stars everywhere. I added one down to the bottom right cluster, bringing in this giant guitar here as well. I liked that because then it almost elongated that top cluster and really almost brought it all the way down to that bottom cluster that was driving me nuts. And I was able to then kind of bring in more music notes and more stars and kind of connect those two clusters. So I was really happy to add that guitar and, like I said, elongate that. This just was a labor of love, quite honestly. I was actually surprised at how long this layout took me. And I think it is because there's just so many bits and pieces that I end up adding. So you can see I added another cluster of stars at the bottom with music note there. And after looking at it, I just felt like the right-hand side was not busy enough. Usually I am not a busy scrapbooker, but this one here, I just, wanted more. So I found that kind of half a Mickey head and decided to use that maybe as the main embellishment in that cluster, or so I thought. I guess I changed it up and add another record there with the camera, the video camera. Again, trying to bring that cluster kind of down to connect to that bottom cluster. Again, a very, very busy layout. But I do love the outcome and love that I was able to use so many of the embellishments from this collection that are so specific. I do need to figure out where to embellish. I might end up journal, excuse me. I need to journal because I need to journal about, obviously, riding this ride and his mean muggin' photo there. So I might do it under that bottom photo in that white space. I think if I write small enough, I should be able to kind of get the gist of the story down there. So that's probably where I will journal. So you can see that I did add stars and the music notes to kind of connect those two. And then I went into my stash and found the Bella Boulevard puffy embellishments here. And there were stars here as well. I've mentioned it in another one of my videos that I don't like combining stars and hearts. So I was happy to find that all of these had stars and in colors that really matched the collection pretty well. So I am going to end up adding those puffy hearts throughout these clusters, I guess you will call them. I don't know. They're quite large clusters, but I liked bringing in another texture, another kind of element, I guess. So those puffy stars were really fun. So really, really busy stars, music notes, but again, really do like the outcome and happy that I was able to use so much of the collection. So I will link this Tinseltown collection down below because it is very specific and really fun, but I hope you guys enjoyed this layout. And again, I definitely scraplifted Rebecca Ruiz. I cannot take full credit for this layout by any means, so definitely check out her Facebook or her Instagram page as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.